Here is some tips for you guys on toenailing studs. Here we're stick framing this vault wall inside this main area, and I got my studs that I'm ready to pop in here. So whenever you have to toenail into walls, it gets a little tricky because when you go to shoot your stud, it'll bump it over. Here's what I like to do. Just account for that bump. So keep this away from your mark, about an 1/8 inch, heavy 1/8 inch, and then make sure you're flush here and go and toenail on this side first. As you can see, that bumped it over closer to the line, and then I'll infill the rest of my nails. When you're shooting your toenails, that you stay up off the plate at least 1 inch. The perfect toenail would be 1.5 inches up with a 45-degree angle. That rarely happens, so I want to shoot for more like 1 inch and then get full bite from this stud down into the plates without the nail sprouting through on the other side. Keeping it off that line allows you to bump it a touch further if you need to. If you go and set it on the line and toenail it, it's going to always push it over the line because you're not going to be able to hold it in place. Same on the top, on these angles. This top flexes a lot more. That's why I nail this bottom. This top you can beat over really easily. With these bevel cuts, you can move that up to 1/4 inch real easily and then put your toenails in there. Now, one quick tip on the top. If your stud is a touch short, because we don't always measure perfectly, and you're crowding that line on the short point, just pull it back to the mark and shoot a couple down through the top, and that'll keep it in position. Here's what you don't want to do with toenailing. You don't want to have your gun too level because then it'll sprout out. That actually didn't sprout out too much, but they can get a lot worse. And you also don't want to be too high up off the plates, or it'll look like that as well, and you won't have any meat. So there's a sweet spot to getting that toenail up off about 1 inch at the correct angle to get the most meat on your toenail. And then if you shoot too low, then it looks something like that, and you're barely getting any meat into this stud that you want to connect into the plate. So there's a sweet spot on your toenails.